Yo, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is here, and this episode is the prime example of why you let a studio, a director, its animators cook, because that was movie level. Here's the thing. These are such little details that will usually go unnoticed by the masses, but if they weren't there, you wouldn't have the masses most likely saying, wow, I found myself sucked into this more than a lot of debut episodes. And I'm not talking about the typical, oh, look at that really well animated action scene. No, from minute one, and it helps because I watch these episodes with headphones in, so I really get to appreciate the smaller details. The sound direction alone in this episode was next level, and I'm talking about the smallest details that didn't need to be there. There's a moment when they go into the haunted house area, the creaks on the floor, like every time the foot, you felt like it was a real foot hitting each of these squeaky floorboards, picking up the flashlight, the glass, everything about it just felt real, like we were actually walking through this. The attention to detail in the smallest things. There wasn't a flat color around. Every bit of wood felt like real wood, the dirt on the glass, the raindrops hitting everything. All these little moments really make you sucked in saying, wow, this is clearly anime, but goddamn does this feel like a realistic anime here. The background details, everything. But it's the fact that they had fun. Now, if you look at a studio like GoHands, and even their current anime, The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses, they cook too much. They try to not be normal, and they just spin their camera way too much. That's wrong. A show like Jujutsu Kaisen, they do things way different, yet it's amazing. There's moments where you'll feel like you're being bounced like the basketball and you're zooming up, or they'll just shift the perspective. But every time they do it, it feels like there's a meaning behind it and it makes you just immediately sucked in. It feels otherworldly and you just say, holy shit, Jujutsu Kaisen is back, and it feels like we're watching a movie. This season's gonna be incredible. We have 2 arcs that we're adapting, and I am absolutely here for it. Full live reaction to this wonderful first episode is available on my Patreon. Also have a full live reaction to Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, which I recently covered if you're interested, so consider heading on over there, consider supporting if you would like to see those. But this was a fantastic first episode. I definitely will say the opening and ending were not what I was expecting. The ending was definitely my favorite out of the 2 song-wise. Visually, I mean, both did what they needed to, of course, but there was something about the ending that really hooked me in. But I did enjoy the opening. It just felt, I guess, a lot more peaceful than I was expecting, which most likely means, well, if we have a peaceful opening and ending, probably means bad things are gonna happen. But you know what? Hey, I'm here for it. By the looks of it, I think this arc is supposed to be 6 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be a 23 episode season 2. I think it's 6 episodes for the first arc and then 17 for the second arc. And for those who don't know, there will be a 3-week break in between the arcs, which I think season 1 also did. So basically, this will line up to Jujutsu Kaisen ending on the last week of December, because once this arc concludes, 3-week break, and then they come back for the next 17 without any interruptions. And some people might say, oh, that's an issue. I'm fine with that, especially because half the time these 2 cores come out, they usually need a 3-week break anyway to make sure production doesn't shit the bricks, and honestly, I'm here for whatever they deliver. But let's talk about this one. So we start the episode, and immediately I'm like, what the hell's going on? You see this weird spider-like beast just explode into such a beautiful mess, and it immediately sets the tone. And then we go visit this like haunted mansion house thing where there's this family and ultimately mass suicide, and because of the deaths, and immediately it's creepy as shit. So we're back with Gojo in his school years, I think for a majority of this arc, if not all of it. And the idea of just seeing these 2 walk through and just feel, honestly, it kind of remind me in a weird way of Luigi's Mansion. If anyone's ever played any of those games, just, you know, shit's gonna pop up, but unlike that game where cute ghosts and critters will pop up, yeah, I'm just expecting for the worst thing to happen. And instead, rather than going with like a visual horror, instead it's all about your mind and the way they distort things. Like, there's so many times the camera pulls back, and rather than having like a flat floor, it'll almost be curved because they just distort things in such an interesting way. And when they figure out the fact that they just keep looping, the idea of running in opposite directions in order to break it, because they basically explain it as it's almost being pieced together. So if you force it fast enough, I mean, eventually it will just shatter. And I really like that as like an establishing moment to then just seeing our boy just be an absolute troll. The fact that he's been trolling these people for so long is just, I love it, man. And I like the fact that the fact that you can start, or at the very least, like, end a first episode where just a bunch, like, a dozen knives are pointed at one character, Another character gets exploded, or was supposed to be when he rang that doorbell, and now we're flying in the sky. Like, what an explosive way to start a season of Jujutsu Kaisen. And coming off of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, wanting to see more and learn more about Gojo and Geto's life and their upbringing. I mean, one of my favorite points was like the quick montage in that movie of just seeing like how happy they were at a younger age. So getting an arc where we really get to see them earlier again is a really refreshing intro arc, in my opinion. Obviously, I expect the second arc, the one that's getting like 17 episodes this season, is going to be the most action-packed and exciting, but I'm really interested in learning more about this time period and ultimately what happened to the characters to lead them to where we have ended up, right? Either way, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 I thought was beautifully produced. I love the characters top to bottom. I just found it to be a very exciting world, but it definitely feels like we're doing things differently already with the start of this season. And even if you, like, I highly recommend the movie if you didn't watch it, of course, but even if you look at the movie, like, yes, while that was like something different and was supposed to be different than that of the main show, I like the fact that this world is evolving and expanding at the appropriate pace, and I really am excited to see what they want to do with the big antagonists of this season, what they want to do emotionally, how they want to rip our heart out and stomp on it, but most importantly, how they're going to push the production, because there was some really, really memorable fights in Season 1, and honestly, with the way things are looking, like, I feel like some people are going to look at some of the shots that are a little more abstract, that almost are reminiscent of like Sunny Boy style animation, and will say, oh, look at the line work, it's not HD enough, it's not crystal clear, it's not super sharp, and they'll try to say like it's unrefined, but no, it's artistic. There's so many shots that just have so much fun and radiate charisma that makes this world and these characters come to life. Like a moment near the end with Geto and Gojo, when he's like walking all funky, it's just like, did they need to do that? No, but it immediately makes it feel like they're alive. They have such interesting personalities and strong personalities coming across their character designs. And honestly, this is hands down the best episode, the best produced episode I've seen so far this season. And if they can keep up this quality, and I think they can, especially given that they will have a 3-week break in between arcs, if they can keep this up, this will be the best produced season of this summer anime season. And I am very hopeful for what they're going to do. They definitely have been cooking this one for a bit, and I really think an episode like this is the exact definition when people ask, like, why do we need to let these studios cook? This is why, because if you would have popped this out last season, it wouldn't have been nearly as refined, and I really hope that this season lives up to the hype, whether for anime originals, whether for those source readers that have been hyping up. I think the things I've been hearing about that have been getting hyped up are the next arc, but everything I saw about this, it sucked me right in. I was complimenting it start to the end. I'm like, why is the sound direction this good? Seriously, if you didn't watch it with headphones, just watch the first 5 minutes of this episode with headphones and you'll hear what I'm hearing. It's insane. The visuals, everything was just so captivating, and the fact that we're jumping into a setting and a perspective that I wanted to see more of ever since finishing the movie, I like this. I really do. I think this is going to be a 10 out of 10 season for me personally, but you can let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel, and like I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction to this wonderful episode, the movie, and I will be covering this every week on Patreon in live reaction format if you're interested, and hey, while you're there, you'll also get a video shout out. So today, we have Aldo, Cassie P, Yuxin Pan, and Gordon Liu. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.